Greetings, welcome back to Black Bear News, where climate change is in the headlines every day. And we're going to go to Brazil, where things seem to be unraveling on an ecological level. And the president of Brazil, Bolsonaro, is just doesn't really care. He's is he a symptom of our times? Most likely, but he also is a huge problem, right? So anyway, I want to read this story. October 23rd, this is from Yahoo News. Brazil deploys 5,000 troops as fury mounts at inaction over worst oil spill in the country's history. This is wild. Brazil has deployed 5,000 troops to its beaches amid mounting fury. So, that action alone, that I agree with. Troops being dispatched to deal with climate change. It's only a matter of, months or, years before the United States military will be dispatched to deal with climate change. Right now, we just dispatch prisoners to go fight forest fires for a dollar and a quarter a day or something like that. But you can thank Kamala Harris for that kind of good stuff. But Brazil has deployed 5,000 troops to its beaches amid mounting fury at the government's inaction over the worst oil spill in country's history. The environmental catastrophe began in early September when large quantities of oil inexplicably washed ashore. The mysterious spill has continued and has now touched more than 1,000 miles of Brazil's coast, polluting some of the country's most picturesque beaches and destroying local marine life. So they don't even know where this oil spill, they don't know where the oil is coming from. And they're just like, oh, well, look at all this oil. We don't know. We have no idea what's going on. We have no responsibility. But of course, people are quite upset because it's destroying ecosystems, and beautiful beaches of Brazil are now coated in oil. The mysterious spill has now touched more than 1,000 miles of Brazil's coast, polluting some of the country's most picturesque beaches. Right, I read that. Now public anger is rising over the Brazilian government's failure to stem the flow, or indeed establish the oil source. In response, local officials have resorted to urging volunteers to aid the cleanup mission. Video of volunteers' inefficient attempts to clean up the spills have been met with ridicule on social media because, that's what we do these days. We mock or ridicule people trying to hold back the tide of climate change. Online or, climate destruction or ecocide. Online commentators have shared footage of locals equipped with little more than rubber gloves and rudimentary fishing nets battling the huge environmental disaster, questioning why the government has not offered a coordinated national response. Or maybe they're just ridiculing the government's response. I don't know. This week, Hamilton Mourão, the country's vice president, announced he was dispatching 5,000 troops to the northeast to give more visibility to the government's response. Well, at least you want to be visible if you're not actually doing anything. At least look like you're doing something. It's an age-old, that's age-old wisdom, right? Look busy, even if you're not busy. Mr. Mourão said the government has recovered 600 tons of oil, the equivalent of almost 4,300 barrels, calling the accident unprecedented in the world. But critics have argued the government is no closer to determining the source of the spill. President Jair Bolsonaro's government has posited several theories, including blaming Venezuela, criminals, or foreign vessels, but offered no evidence. Bolsonaro is one of those truly narcissistic individuals because it's always someone else's fault. Someone's doing something to him or his country, and he's a victim, of course. Mr. Bolsonaro, who has already faced international criticism over his response to major fires in the Amazon, suggested the spill was the result of a criminal action to sabotage an oil auction taking place in November, which is expected to generate $50 billion for Brazil. How dare this oil spill get in the way of their oil auction? A Brazilian leader said, I wonder, we have to be very responsible about what we say. Could it have been a criminal act to harm this auction? It's a question that's out there, he added. The country's environmental agency said a molecular analysis of the oil revealed it had not been produced in Brazil, and the state-run oil company Petrobras has also denied any involvement. The sheer magnitude of the spill makes it unlikely to have occurred from the ocean floor or a sunken ship. Yikes. Lastly in this video, I wanted to read more humor from Marty McCorkle, because that's what we like to do here once in a while. Marty is good at bringing a little levity, if not gallows humor, to the situation. So this is from an article or a news story I read the other day, something about locusts eating each other when they run out of food. Locusts eat one another after their preferred lunch is exhausted? Is that surprising? We've been on a human supremacist head trip forever, seeing nature as a public pantry full of meat, actually animals, wood, actually trees, and natural resources, actually Earth's biosphere. Heil human, we declare with our implied superiority to other sentient beings. Bang on, Marty McCorkle. When man puts man on the menu, only the slightest moral adjustment to Heil human supremacy is necessary. Erase that fantasy chalk line that pretends to separate human apes from nature. Then redraw that chalk line to exclude outsider humans, turning them into a human resource called lunch. Easy peasy. And we are not talking about roadkill either. No day-old rotting types of dyed or natural causes stiffies. They're all skin and bones like a carp and possibly diseased. Nope, only a living, in-shape, meaty human is worth cooking. Few cared about billions of cows slaughtered, will be the reasoning after 6 months of widespread hunger. So what's the big whoop about eating those delicacies that aren't in our group? That's sound reasoning to the starving. Though the lunch may think further hashing out is needed. Such hashing out is always preferred among livestock and consistently vetoed by humans. Sorry, cow. And now, sorry, human. But meat doesn't get a vote. See? Easy peasy. Humans stay on top, using the same old reasoning, just slightly tailored for new meat fashions. Besides, our current moral repugnance is meaningless to the future long-term hungry. We fainting couchers rarely miss a string of meaty meals, and certainly not a few months' worth. When food dwindles, humans adjust their recipes, and while the bumpy moral considerations of butchering a fellow human are worth exploring, just as with livestock now, it's best discussed on a full stomach. Clucking our tongues doesn't disentangle us from Cannibal Planet. We create it now. We make endless excuses for birthing too many people, perhaps 7 out of 8 of us are too many, who consume too many and exhaust pantry Earth. From here, we can clearly see this approaching cannibalism through scientific data assisted by cocktail napkin math. So when this planet is proved to be finite, who knew? And collapse starts snowballing, expect to be running in terror. A terror that one's potential lunch might give one's tribe the slip, ruining this week's meal plans. People meat is on the menu on the back slope of the population curve. It's the logical consequence of how we choose to live. So own Cannibal Planet. We're now building it. Our admonishments of cannibalism give future folk a good belly laugh. To them, we are hypocritical profligates. We wave our chubby fingers in admonishment of our starving successors, insisting that they go easy on the buffet. Future folk, licking their fingers, which have been fried and lightly salted, reply, I'm giving you middle finger, Gramps, because it's the tastiest. My message for future cannibals, we give you this banquet of consequences. So bon appetit, and don't play with your food. Woo! Gruesome stuff from Marty McCorkle. Thank you. Hope you all enjoyed that. Appreciate your eyes, your ears, and your conscience. If you would like to support this channel, you can do so at the links below. Until next time, peace.